You know what I mean? It's like me complaining that my freaking Toyota Camry, no matter how hard I smash the gas pedal, won't go 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. It's like, it's a Camry, bro. Go buy a Lambo or stop complaining about your Camry. I'm just so frustrated.
Got Jesse with the metaphor time
Dude,
this time. Nice.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the podcast things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I'm Veritas. And I'm tired.
And you exported the video.
And I fucking exported
You
a video.
exported the video.
I'm a content creator. Yay.
Dude,
Fuck.
How many attempts did it take?
It took about 18 hours.
What's crazy is that, like, as somebody who's worked in Premiere for a really long time too, like, I feel that pain, and there's just like there's no like real feedback from Premiere. It's just like failed, period.
Well, if you click on the thing, it'll give you a notepad thing where it says like, you know, error 9, fucking whatever 3, and there's a million people that all solved it a million different ways, but it gives you a range of like 10 seconds where it's like there was an invalid frame. And the best part is that like sometimes I might, if there's like an hour-long thing, I might be rendering a 5-minute portion, and that frame is like an hour later, and it's like I wasn't even fucking rendering that frame.
Yep.
But all I need to do is just like trim off like a frame from somewhere, and it's a coin flip. So it was sunk cost fallacy around like, let me export it, see if it works. It takes an hour.
Yep.
And then it gets to the end, the last 5 minutes, and it fails. And then I take away one frame, hit export, wait an hour. Yeah. And sometimes it works, and it just so happens that I lost the coin flip like 18 times in a row.
Which is insane. Ugh. So you had to export it in 3 chunks. Did that help you find the frame, or did it just not care?
No, I didn't do any, like, once it got to the end, I didn't edit it at all. I literally just, so the first hour I had already rendered out. It was just one MP4. And then all of the other ones, they were made up of a bunch of other clips and stuff, but they were like 20-minute pieces. I've been rendered for 3 months. Once I get done editing a portion, I would just render it out because I need hard drive space every fucking day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so finally it was like an hour-long thing mixed with, then there was 2-hour-long chunks that had a bunch of stuff. I had to edit one, edit the other. Then I had to put the 3 pieces into another thing, and that failed once, and then it succeeded the second time. And I changed nothing. I just tried it again.
That's insane.
Yeah, so and that was after, you'll see when you watch the video, that was after the day before that, I had went through and basically said, like, I had a few comparisons and a bunch of anecdotes from people being like, yo, I used to have Windows Sonic, or I used to have 7.1 surround, and they're like, I turned it off and it's like amazing. Like, I used to say it was terrible, and I turned, and it's like amazing. Like, thank you so much. And I'm like, honestly, that's not going to convince like 20% of the people that watch this video. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to turn them on. And when you watch it, you'll see it's atrocious. It's the worst auditory experience I've ever had in my entire life. Everything sounds like it's around you at all times. It's terrible. You ever get anybody showing you clips or sending you clips that you listen to and you're like, what is this audio? Like, what the fuck are you? They're probably using Windows Sonic, or they have like Sonic Studio 3 is another one that everybody has running on their machine because it's installed on like so many motherboards, and they don't realize it. Yep. Dude, I uninstalled it. After I turned it on and I uninstalled it, my computer was like borked. All the audio was fucked. I had to reinstall it and then disable it, but it would crash every single time. You'll see in the video, dude. It was... Jeez. So I spent about 12 hours getting those clips and then editing that all the day before I finished, which then took me 2 full days. That's... Yeah, it was just... so yeah, I'm tired, but everybody loved the video. Yeah, so dude, I was just saying before we started, I was super sad I wasn't able to hit the premiere, but I'm excited to watch it, bro. I am so pumped to watch it.
We were talking about it for so long. You've been working on it for so long.
Yeah, man. So I'm just pumped to get it up onto YouTube tonight and have everybody watch it. And it's gonna get 1,100 views and
I don't know. So you're gonna premiere on YouTube tomorrow, right? You just like watched it on stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want to wait another 90 minutes after spending all morning getting it rendered. I'm like, I don't want to upload it and have to wait another 90 minutes. I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking stream.
Especially when like randomly when I upload the podcast, sometimes it'll just be stuck on like processing HD version for like 3 days, and sometimes I just like send it live and it's like whatever. Recently, since I moved here and I have fiber, sometimes it'll be like processing SD version, and I'll just re-upload the file again, name it V2, and that second one will upload and process before the first one finishes processing, and then I'll just delete the first one.
I wonder if it's just like a state.
So weird.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a state thing.
Yeah, it's super weird. But yeah, so I get not wanting to have to deal with potentially any sort of upload like hiccups on YouTube side. Woof. But yeah, I mean, as far as like happenings, I guess we can hop into like the video if you want, or we can like start with that the big thing that's been happening on the Twitter sphere and the internet is the artesian drama.
Yeah, I'd say, you know what, like there's not a whole lot I want to talk about with the audio video. I've been talking about it for so long. Just go fucking, by the time you
watch
hear
the video,
this, just watch the video. Everybody has said unanimously that it was 3 hours long, and they either, like someone just said 3 hours long, and I couldn't stop watching. I couldn't step away. Some people were like, oh my God, it's been 3 hours. Like,
yeah.
So that's all I have to say. Go watch it and you be the judge. But yeah, we can talk about the artesian bullshit because that was fun. All of a sudden, I was in the midst of editing the video all fucking day long. Like, and I've been waking up at 7 a.m. and then usually sitting in the chair. Like, dude, I don't even get up to take a piss. I have a coffee at 7 a.m. and I sit here until 10 p.m. just working on the fucking video. And then I open up Twitter and I see a tweet from One Peg being like, artesian is the worst fucking blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh my God, like, here we go. Like, all of a sudden I had no context other than like One Peg saying all this shit about one of my sponsors that up until now they've been all right. Like, it hasn't been the most amazing, like, fruitful,
but for your experience, you weren't like worried about it until
there's been no negativity associated with it, So, but
I was wondering because I was feeling for you and a lot of people. I know you, I know Clean, I know Willers, I know Slush, I know Pesley. I've all done stuff with them, and yeah, man, that was crazy. It was like 2-3 days ago now. I was just seeing some tweets that were blowing up and some clips of their giveaway, and bro, like when the internet
what a dick bag.
When the internet gets on something, it doesn't let go, that's for sure. But this one felt good. This one felt like a win for the internet, right? Because like her tweet blew up, you know what I mean? She was just like, and that's the thing, is that like he was being a dick to a lot of the smaller streamers that were in there, but like her tweet, Kiapa really blew up. And
here's on that note though, here's the problem. I was involved with that whole thing for 3 days before I even knew, before I even heard her name, because there was 100 other content creators with tens of thousands of views. They were all the ones that were making the deal out of it, and it was just about this guy being a dickhead. And we can, I can run through what ended up happening, because I'm sure there's some people like, what are they talking about? But yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of overshadowed the original thing. It got completely buried. But so to summarize what happened, Artesian was a sponsor of me for basically like a year. And yeah, we can get into that, how that all worked out from like a sponsorship perspective.
Really?
Yeah. And they were doing, so they do giveaways, all the time. one of the things they were doing was, so they have two different kinds of relationships. They have like sponsorships, and then they have affiliate deals. Honestly, like affiliate deals, it's a lot like fucking Cutco Knives, Market America, pyramid scheme kind of ish thing, where it's like, I'm going to give you a panel. The panel goes to a link that has a code that gives you like a tiny discount, and we'll give you a percent of the sales.
Yeah, it's like
and
a 2%
when I say
kickback or something.
When I say a percent, I mean less than a percent. Yeah, which I'll get to.
Oh my god.
But so they have a bunch of affiliates, right? Because there's a lot of smaller content creators that are like, I have no way to monetize, like
they have a bunch of affiliates.
Yeah, maybe I'll make $50 from like a Raid Shadow Legends stream or something, but like otherwise, so there's a lot of people who grab the panel, throw it on their channel. That rhymed.
Grab the panel, throw it on the channel.
Sick bars. And when Noah, the CEO, he's the one that like does a lot of builds and is kind of like the talking head on stream and stuff. When he pulled the name of the first giveaway winner, in air quotes, he was like, okay, so let's see, and basically pulled up her channel and was like, oh, and he went through like line by line, like, she doesn't have the viewer numbers, she doesn't have the follower numbers, but she streamed in the, a couple times in the last 2 days, so that's good. But and she has a panel and whatever, but then at the end he's like, but nobody's clicked on the panel, so he basically was like, and we're gonna find someone else, like we're gonna re-roll. And he did that, like there was like 7 or 8 different content creators that he basically that won, and the giveaway was supposed to be for affiliates.
Yes.
But out of the 7 or 8 people that he drew, they basically were like, nah, not big enough, because it wasn't big enough marketing, because they weren't doing the giveaway to help out their affiliates. They were doing the giveaway for fucking free marketing. And they wanted to have, as much of an impact, which is fine and all, but not when you say it's for your affiliates, then you belittle them on stream, talk shit about their numbers in the douchiest possible way.
That was what did it for me, because I was watching these clips and I was like, I didn't know the whole context. I haven't worked with Artesian. I didn't know that they were doing giveaways. I didn't know who they were doing giveaways for. I didn't know what size channel. I thought they were talking about a maybe
sponsor.
Yeah, I didn't know what size channel they were going for. But I saw the clip and I'm just like, and I was just like, this was an L at every level. Like it was because it's not just what you say, it's also how you say it. Because not knowing the context, in the back of my head, I was like, yeah, business is business, right? Like I can't go to, I can't approach Monster Energy and be like, sponsor me cause I wanna. They're gonna be like, dude, we're sponsoring like Summit 1G and stuff like that. Like we can't just sponsor you because you want to be sponsored. So like that, the numbers and the growth and the speed at which you grow, those things matter on the business side of things. But in the back of my head, I was like, there's no way to ever adequately communicate that stuff when you're live on stream to an audience. So why are you even talking about that? And B, it's not just what you said, it's how you said it. He literally picked every word out of his mouth and said it all in the douchiest, most condescending tone. Everything he was trying to communicate, he communicated it in the worst possible way. Just like, yeah, exactly. Like the way he turned to the camera to look at the audience and be like, less than 1 follower on Twitch per day. And you're just like, I'm just like, you're gross, bro. Like, just shut up. And then after I learned the context and realized that, yeah, this was supposed to be a like for their affiliates, it made it even worse, because I was like, well, now you can't even really talk the business side of things. You're the ones that basically arbitrage Twitter, DMing everybody. Like I've gotten just completely unsolicited DMs by them that were 3,000 characters long about how cool their affiliate program is and that I should join. And I never responded to any of them. So it's like, you can't play both sides. You can't have your Twitter guy DMing every small streamer out there in the world to be your ambassador. then do an ambassador giveaway and start chucking out numbers. It's like you can't have it both ways. If you want 600,000 ambassadors, cool, that's not illegal, but then when you do an ambassador giveaway, it has to be for your ambassadors. So like, dude, it was just L after L, and then his Twitter apology was so brutal. It was basically like, sorry, you think that what I did was douchey.
It was that kind of apology.
But I do all this stuff for the community, and I don't have to, and other people don't. And
dude, that was the worst part. It was like a 4-part tweet that was mostly basically like defending himself.
Yeah.
An apology that was saying how much they do and how they don't have to do it. And it was like, fucking A.
Yep. And then they released like a document. It was like, white background, black text with their logo apologizing again. And then he did an apology video. Did you watch the apology video? I did just him solo dolo. Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Dude, he literally like it was just so funny. He was like our giveaway's going forward, and he took this big deep breath and he was like, will be for all of our ambassadors. And I was like, either that was the worst timing of all time, or you're actually like a monster human.
Dude, and that was one of those things like I try not to assume the worst in
I get
people.
it. Yeah, me too.
So that was one of those things I'm like, I'm just gonna give that to him, that maybe he was ashamed, in his voice, as opposed to, whatever. I didn't like, he already dug himself an infinitely deep hole. I didn't need one more inch deeper.
Yeah, it was less about me using that to pile on, but as I was watching it, it was more of me realizing what was about to happen. Because exactly, that's what I thought. I was like, whether that was totally on accident and that Psy was out of just total shame, or not,
stop, delete, and hit record again.
And either way, you have to know how thin of ice you're on. Like, remember, this is one of those things where it's such poetic justice in my opinion, because like they built their company. As far as I know, I don't know the inner workings of their company, but they built their company on the back, at least it seems to me they built their company on the back of knowing the internet pretty well. Right, like they and using that to their advantage, right? They know that giveaways are good. They do a ton more giveaways than other people. The affiliate program is great marketing for them. Like if you're talking from a business standpoint, that free advertising is great. The fact that as of 3 weeks ago, 1 out of every 10 small streamers you clicked on had that panel at the bottom. Like they grew quickly. Like I remember when they were a brand new company on the block, when their Twitter had like 10 or 15,000 follows, and before this all started, it had like 260,000 followers on their Twitter. So it's just so funny when a company builds their company basically hacking the internet, and then when something goes wrong, they seem so tone deaf to the internet. Like you didn't think to re-record that. You know what I mean? And like,
because there's a difference between knowing marketing and
knowing the internet. That's a good call.
And being a good human.
Yeah.
Just kind of why I have a business degree. And after being in the business world for a few years, basically was like, oh yeah, I don't want to fucking do this anymore.
Yeah. So it was just so funny. And then I just happened to see today that their Twitter account deleted all of the apologies, all of anything in reference to that they deleted from their Twitter account. And their top tweet is a quote, and it says, "We're currently exploring the option of an employee-led buyout." Period.
Interesting.
Which I don't care. It doesn't. It was just interesting that they deleted everything in reference to the happening. All 3 apologies were deleted.
The happening. A bunch of people started. All of a sudden, there was a gust of wind, and Marky Mark was there, and he's
now. On the flip side, what was so cool about how everything showed up was Kiappa, like Jay's 2 cents, showed up in the tweet, made a YouTube video about it, built her an insane PC. Keemstar contacted Meta PC, and they're sending her a PC as well. Cooler Master offered her a paid 12-month sponsorship. She went from 700 Twitter followers to 20,000 in 3 days. She had 1,500 people concurrent on her stream. And I'm sure that there's a bubble, right? Like, but either way, it's pretty like once again, kind of that poetic justice of the internet that like he belittled her for being so small and having no audience. And now,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I want to talk about that side of things a little bit. Because I thought this, I had so many like mixed emotions with so many aspects of this.
Yeah.
Where as soon as this happened, one, there was a bunch of people who never had any relationship, no, nothing. That, oh God, how do I fucking say this? It's like not that people shouldn't have been outraged
Yeah.
because they should have, but just like thinking out loud here, when I heard about it, my gut reaction was not to go and tweet about my fucking outrage.
Yeah.
It was to go in my Discord to tell them I didn't want to do business with them anymore, and that was it.
Yeah.
But of course everybody's saying at Veritas,
Yeah.
what do you
have to say about this?
Yeah. Like, are you gonna publicly condemn the thing that is obviously shitty that nobody in their right mind would ever defend? Like, almost like egging me on.
Yeah,
Like they
for sure.
wanted
Yeah.
somebody to fucking shoot themselves in the foot. That's just what it felt like.
Yeah.
And part of it is that I hate mob mentality. I hate bandwagoning. I hate, like, there was just so much going around that's like, it's dead. They're dead. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Just fucking move on. Like, they're,
let it die. Yeah.
And the other side of it was, yeah, it's so hard because it's like, it makes perfect sense that, like, Peen that Pestily and Clean and Willers would go and Peen and Castelli would like tweet out that they're no longer doing business, blah blah blah. Like, it's just so weird to me though how, and maybe this is just me being just like cynical, but like how all of the comments were like, oh my God, you guys are our fucking heroes.
Yeah.
You did the easiest fucking thing in the world, publicly denouncing someone
who's terrible,
like who's a piece of shit. Like, if I were to go and be like, Hitler did something wrong on Twitter, like everybody would get down and fucking have to lick my boots. Like, they did the right thing. But also, it was easy, and their DMs were full of fucking sponsorship offers.
Yeah.
It was just so easy. You know what I mean?
And I totally understand what you're saying. You're not saying that they shouldn't have done that tweet. They should. They should, like, hey, let their audience know. Like, if you're Pestily, you should. Like, he's given away 67 Artesian Builds PCs in all of his subathons. Like, he totally should tweet out, like, hey, just so you know, breaking contact moving forward. But I totally get what you're saying. It's how the internet moves around in that mob, that like the response to that didn't need to be like, oh my God, thank you so much, like fattest W of all time, like you're the GOAT, Pestily. Like, I get what you're saying there totally, because exactly, like who's gonna defend that? Nobody did. Nobody has. Like,
I just felt so weird because it's like,
I get what
people
you're
are demanding a response from me, and it's like me being the 157 millionth person to say, yeah, fuck them. It does nothing except makes me feel like it would be perceived as, what's the term that I hate, but it applies here, is like virtue signaling.
Okay.
The whole like, I'm going to go tweet that, like, I went and gave a homeless guy $5 today. It's always, hashtag do the thing when no one's looking. Yeah. Until you fucking tweet it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, not to say that that's what people were doing, but it's like, there's just no reason. I deleted my panel. I told them to take the shit off the website.
Yeah.
But, people demand my fucking public response. It's like, okay, well. But yeah, I mean,
that is rough. That is a hard spot to be in. And and it's like, and there's no, I was thinking about this too. Like, there's no, like, once again, you got to be careful how you say it. It's like, I agree with everything. I agree with everybody severing ties. I agree and love that people came to her defense and are giving her opportunities and sponsorships. But it's like, everything's an opportunity. You know what I mean? It's like
think about the marketing that those people got from giving them
that far away. Like I'm not saying that anybody did the wrong thing, but it's not that far away from Artesian seeing an opportunity to get a bunch of small streamers to represent them, and Cooler Master seeing an opportunity in a small streamer that's blowing up. They were just the first person to offer the sponsorship. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm not
they got
saying,
more marketing out of that than Artesian would have if they just gave it to the fucking girl.
And so like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done that. I'm not saying that it was all inherently bad intentions, but it's like, you just got to be careful to not praise somebody for doing the same thing the guy you're crucifying is doing. You know what I mean? Like, he was trying to do that, and Noah was trying to maximize opportunity too. He was just verbalizing it in the most douchebaggy way possible. And you know what I mean? So it's like, because the thing is that like, there was more than just her. Like you were saying, it's more than just Kiappa that got, you know what I mean? Like, where's Keemstar giving her those other streamers the PC? Where's Cooler Master giving those other people the sponsorship? So it is just like you got like, this was cool, and it was a fat dub for the internet. It was like cool to see it all happen. But you kind of, you know, gotta remember that it's all marketing and it's all opportunity these days. And I was even talking to chat the other day about how like we have to remember that like, there's a bunch of people that work at Artesian. You know what I mean? It's like, that probably
aren't the other thing.
Douchebags that probably were super uncomfortable with the way that their boss was at work. I mean, there's stuff coming out now. I don't know how true it is about like text messages and DMs between Noah and his employees. Like, I don't know. You should have
seen, I had a Twitter, like one of those group Twitter DMs that's a bane of my fucking existence, but it was literally like all the Artesian partners and blah, blah. And there's always a million people every day. And I had to like mute the conversation because I couldn't deal with. I don't like group conversations with like my dad and my sister. Fuck that. Like, it's too much. It's too much. But the employees, not all of them, but a bunch of them would like join that, but not as like, you know, Janet Artesian, you know, or whatever. It would be like their personal accounts. And then there was a lot of them being like, we're fucking appalled. We do not like feel good. Like, this really sucks, and we agree with everything, all of you, because I mean, they were going off in that private conversation, and a bunch of the employees were like, this is totally fucked. You guys are right. Like, we're embarrassed and ashamed, you know, and I'm sure a bunch of them probably quit, or I'm guessing it just seemed like they were like, you know, so ultimately it's one of those things that, like, and that was part of what made me feel so bad, is like, the harder you shit on the company, like Noah's already fucking dug himself, like I said, 100 feet deep. The more you hammer home, the more you're just fucking over a bunch of other probably nice people who now have to go find new jobs.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So
it's like, 100%. Hold people accountable. Don't put up with bullcrap, and you leverage the power of the internet for good. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't have to go to nuclear warfare immediately. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's just, and it's sad because like, the name is so synonymous. Like, I mean, it's how it is. I mean, there's like a bunch of other real world examples of this that we don't want to get into on the podcast. But like, you know what I mean? It's like, now on Twitter, if you had, you know, works at Artesian builds in your thing, you're like a terrible person. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's so hard. And so I was just thinking about that, where it's like, there's probably a bunch of people that are getting affected by this in a really negative way. And it's just hard. It's just complicated and a lot messier than people want it to be. And there's a lot more to it. But obviously that doesn't say, it's not that it shouldn't have happened. Like, it was a good response to a really bad thing, and that guy totally shouldn't be running a company, but it's just messy, you know?
I feel like the right scenario would have been like, he gets fucking ousted from the company. They all say, yeah, fuck this guy. And, you know, they move on, kind of thing. But I don't know if he's like the owner, the founder, like whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
But yeah, so the last thing I want to say on this, for context, is how. So I was partnered with them for a year, and so I grossed $32,000 in sales, which, I mean, in terms of expensive PCs, you know, it's not that many. I think it was like 15 PCs or something. But how much do you think I made in commission? $32,000 in gross sales.
Prior to this conversation and like prior to like all this coming about how terrible they are, I would have said that I would have thought like a partner would get 5 to 10%. So like maybe like $32,000, like maybe like somewhere between like 4 and 7 grand off of that.
$131.02. 0.4%. Yeah.
What's yep. That's.
And I also paid for half of my PC too.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was another.
They didn't even front you the whole PC?
No, it was no. It was basically like you pay for half and then we'll take the remainder or whatever out of the blah blah blah, and I needed a new PC at the time, so I'm like, but yeah, so and I guarantee that those numbers are, I mean, like infinitely higher than every single other affiliate, like if you got 0 clicks, like I got 3,000 clicks or whatever, if you got 5 clicks, you never made a sale, you never made a dime, and they got all that advertising and whatever. But yeah. And you talk about like Juju, where it was like I made, I forget what the exact numbers were, but it was like 10 times more with like 10 times less.
Yeah, I was about to say that's crazy. Like the Juju guys treat us right.
And I talked to
comparatively.
And I talk to Matt like all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so. And
that
I hadn't talked to Artesian. I mean, there were a couple conversations kind of back and forth, but yeah, for the most part, they didn't really pay much attention to me for a year. So.
And yeah, once again, what did they paid for half of the PC at cost for them. They got, a banner on a channel with however many hundreds of thousands of followers you have or whatever. They sold $32,000 worth of computers, and they gave you half of a PC at cost and 140.
I mean, yeah, like in the last year,
bucks.
Last year is like 3 million unique viewers or whatever. It's like, yeah. So I actually ended up putting all that in. I was like, other than all the shit that went down, making me absolutely sick, this deal's also fucking hot garbage. And I mean, then their initial response was like, yeah, we get it. Like, do you need any tech or streaming gear? And I was like, I don't need fucking free shit. Like, fuck.
Yeah, what the
fuck's sake. So.
The point. Just right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So, here we are.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was just an interesting thing to talk about because it's very related to the industry that we're in and what we're doing, and it blew up. It caught like wildfire, that whole thing, and so, but yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. And if you're out there and you're a content creator, man, just be aware, like you're going to do yourself a huge favor in asking yourself, like, what did they get out of it? Like, that always has to be the question, right? Because, like, when you're small, I totally get it. A fat company that sponsors, that gives away computers on Mr. Beast's channels and gives away computers for Pestily, when they approach you and they say words like, we want to sponsor you, we want you to bring you on our team, it's really easy to get overwhelmed, to be like, this is sick, this could be good for me. But it's just like, take a second and be like, what do they get out of it? And if they get out of it a whole lot more than you get out of it, it just might not be worth it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I mean, it's really tough because it's like some part of you is saying, if I take this thing, it legitimizes me a little bit because it's like I have a sponsor, quote unquote, right? Like you have a banner. It almost makes you look or feel like a little bit more of a legitimate, content creator,
for sure.
But then also like unlike a pyramid scheme. It's not like they're making you buy PCs and sell them. So there's another part of it where it's like, and I might actually make a couple of dollars from it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really hard to say I can not take this deal and get nothing, or I can take this deal and maybe get more than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
But what I wouldn't want to be is like a NASCAR where you've got 900 fucking billboards and logos and icons, and you know, until you're like Shroud. You know, if I had fucking 50,000 viewers every day, all day,
sure,
and you want to pay me gajillions of dollars,
I'll be
then
NASCAR, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, other than that, and back into the Tarky world, I love this term that you just invented. Elaborate on this.
So yeah, my little portmanteau. This is a TM, the fucking Vera TM. I'm making it right now.
Trademark, copyright.
Standees. Standard edition fucking Andes. Standees. They
another Standee killed me today.
When I over the last, what percentage would you say EOD accounts killed you?
See, this is what's going to be hard. Like 99.
I would say 97.
Yeah.
And whenever it was a standard edition player, it was always like, you know, there's always a weird correlation between like, that was weird. And then you see the white name pop up and you're like, fucking, okay.
Yeah.
I died 10 times yesterday while I was editing or like trying to export, because I'm just sitting here watching a progress bar. I'm like, I might as well fucking dick around in Tarkov. And 9 out of 10 of them were standard accounts, less than level 15, that had god aim.
Yeah.
They'd one tap me with a TT in the face.
Yeah.
When I was wearing like slick whatever. And I don't know. Like it's really hard for me to say, you know, oh, there's all these cheaters and stuff, but it's like, sure, they had a sale, but they've had a million sales before.
Yeah.
What's with this crazy influx of standard edition accounts that are all gods?
Yeah.
At like level 10. It's just it's just a weird last 48 hours. It's literally been the last 2 or 3 days where it just started. Have you noticed anything like that?
I haven't. I really haven't. I mean, like sometimes, you know, that definitely plays a factor when it's like when the dude is insane and you got the white name, you're like, and then if you look it up and it's like sub 15, you're definitely like, okay, you know what I mean? Maybe he got lucky, but maybe not. But like, I haven't seen a huge influx of that for me, but I have seen a huge influx of people feeling that way on Twitter these past few days. So like my experience might not be, you know, whatever. And then also, to be fair, a lot of times when I die, I just rage through the menus. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see what he killed me with. I just click through the thing. And then CL's like, wait, who killed you? What's the name? And I'm like, oh, dude, I don't know. I'm sorry. Like, so maybe I just miss it. But I don't know. It hasn't felt like that.
And maybe it's just because I've been playing. I had a weekly quest that was kill 100 scavs on Factory.
Oh, shoot.
The last 2 days I've been running a bunch of Factory, but all these level 8, level 12, just gods.
Yeah.
You know, running jank ass gear that are like the most confident level 8s I've ever seen in my life. And then and then the one guy I killed today that was like sitting in a corner with his like AK and his P.A.K.A., you know, that was like a level 22 was like EOD. And I'm like, see, that's how they play when they're new. Yeah, that's how they play, because that's how we all played. You just sit there fucking, you know. So maybe they're all fucking landmarks alt account. Yeah, I don't know what, you know.
Yeah,
but it just felt like something's fucking weird in the last couple of days. So yeah, standees. That's my new.
I like that. This Standee, bro. This standard edition Andy.
I'm gonna. I might change my name.
Standee in game.
I hate standees. No, that's probably like, God, I hope it's not like a racist term or something like that.
Oh God.
Who knows? Maybe I'll just change it to standees. Someone's gonna take it though. I just said it out loud. Someone's gonna fucking take it.
I was about to say, you better do it right now if you want to do it.
I'm booting up Tarkov.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really noticed a difference in anything like that in sus encounters. It happens every once in a while. Oh, dude, I want to show you the clips from both sides. Man, I can't do it right now because it would take me a while to find my clip and find the clips that the guy sent me. But like, okay, so we talk a lot about like desync, and we talk a lot about netcode, and we talk a lot about client authoritative and audio, and like all the like minutia of all these little issues. I had one of those things where, okay, so I was playing with Rengar the other day, which you know because he was the one that did this like video and stuff like that. And he was doing he was doing community games where he was just like, hey, we're doing Shoreline. I'm telling everybody when to queue. And he was like, do you want to like, you know, do you want to do that or do you want to do? I was like, oh yeah, let's do a few of that. And like his audience are just chads, dude. So it was fun because like I didn't even know what server. Rengar was on one server. He told his community, he was like, all right, we queue now, boom. And so it was like, it was Shoreline Resort, but every raid was 11 chads. And so like, it was factory, but it was the resort. And so it was like fun. Even like I died so much, but the fights were just insane. People were leaping off balconies. Like if you win, you win big, bro. Like it was so much fun. I know Glorious,
and they all felt legit, I'm sure,
yes.
Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, Glorious does that all the time on labs. It was so fun. And then Rengar would like change the rules. He'd be like, all right, this raid, no 7.62 BP. Like any gun you want, everything, but just like don't run a mutant. And so everyone was coming with HKs or P90s or M4s. Like it was just fun. But there was this one guy that I killed like twice that day. And then he killed me later. And he came in and was like, yo, GG's. He's like, I finally killed you. You killed me twice. He was like, I finally killed you. And I was like, oh, GG's, man. And I was like, I remember you. You should see the clip from my perspective. And he's on. The audio was insane. Was
he streaming or did he clip it?
No, he's
like,
just. I actually don't know if he was streaming, but he shadow played it or whatever. Okay, so the audio first of all was insane, and I play Shoreline a lot. There was a guy. So I'm on the second floor of the West Wing by Skybridge, like basically ready to run across if I wanted to, but I hadn't. And there was a guy outside of the resort on the ground running along the building, and the audio was like he was on my level, second floor inside the building. Because I was like turning around watching the stairs, and I would hear this guy run, and I would turn around, but there was nobody there. So the audio kept confusing me. And then this guy was like King Killers, I think was his name. He runs up the stairs looking. I was talking to him. He was looking for that guy too. He was on first floor and he was getting that guy's audio as if he was inside the resort. I was on second floor. I was getting that guy's audio as if it was inside the resort. He was outside of the resort. And so this guy comes barreling up the stairs looking, and I see this dude, and I've got a P90, and I'm like, and he just turns and goes, and kills me. And we were like, what? Like we checked the after action report. It was like 538 damage dealt to body. I'd only killed one scav that raid. 16 hits. Once again, I'd only killed one scav. I was like, Chad, I was like, where's the aim punch, right? Where's the aim punch when this guy, it was one of those things, I know it's client side, but it still makes me mad. The dude's like this when he shoots his gun and I die. He's looking up. I'm hitting. There's blood all over the wall. And I was like, you should see the clip. And he was like, none of that happened.
What he was probably never shot on your screen.
He was shot, but like he was like, check out my clip. He comes up the stairs and you hear all those shots. You hear the P90 go. Brrr. He takes like 2 shots, turns, and just like he had an AK, so he turned and he went dun, 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 and just drug across the screen and hit me in the face. I only heard like 2 shots from him and it hit me in the face. And on my screen, I hit him like 14 times. But on his screen, he only got hit like twice, and there was like no aim punch. It was more just the suppression effect of being shot at. But he was like, oh no, and he turned. And I was like, where? I was just like, dude, I have no idea what happened there. GG's, obviously, like, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure this happens to you all the time. But I was like, that was bogus. And he was like, yeah, you totally should have killed me. Like, I was ready for him. He walks up the stairs. I'm shooting him 16 times. So I've had stuff like that been happening to me. It's just rough.
Dude, that just gave me an idea. This might be the next big fucking very project, which would be like, get as many people as I can into a raid, make it a fucking deathmatch, but require everybody to record their shit. So you can see one raid from 7 different perspectives, every single fight, and do that for like a week.
Yep. You would get insane footage. You would get insane footage, dude.
Because that would actually, like, that would give such a different perspective and idea for like how the game is.
Yeah.
Because why is it that every single time when there's 2 streamers, which is like, 1% of the fights, it's always like, oh wow, someone got fucked there or whatever.
Yeah, there's always
it's not because it's 1% of the time. It's that it's 100% of the time or 1% of the clips. So if we could see 100% of the clips, we'd probably see that it's 100% of the time.
That's actually a great idea, because that's so true. That's why I have such clips like that. Me watching my perspective, me watching his perspective. That's why I have such a hard time calling cheats, unless there's very specific things. Like people like, because immediately when I died, it was like, my chat was like, sus, 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 sus. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then he came in and he posted his clip. And it's like, unless I see somebody flying or I'm getting shot at through walls, I'm not going to call cheats, because like, that's ridiculous. Like what just happened to me is ridiculous. Our 2 experiences were vastly different. I had another experience yesterday. I peeked my head up. I was moving from 2nd to 3rd floor just to peek up to see where a guy was. I killed a guy with a wrist T and a slick. I ditched my armor, wrist T on, slick on. I know there's a guy above me. I just don't know where he is. And I'm not even trying to push upstairs. I'm just trying to peek upstairs and then come back, because I just want to see if I could bait out a shot. I do bait out a shot. I see his flashlight, so I'm running downstairs. I've got my head down. I'm on 2nd floor. I'm underneath him. Pop, pop, pop. I'm dead. And I was like, how did he shoot? I was like, and in my head, I literally was like, how did he headshot me? I was underneath him and I had a wrist T. And I go to the thing and I died to the stomach. That's why the slick didn't save me. So I was like, what? So I'm sure to him, he didn't come in and post his clip, but I'm sure to him, I was just still on the platform between the 2 staircases. So he was shooting me through the stairs, stomach, stomach, stomach. And with the slick, it would only take 2 or 3 shots with M80 and I would die. And I was like, I was on 2nd floor. I was underneath this guy. How did he kill me? So I've got clips. If you did that, you would get insane clips, dude. Yeah, I don't know if Shoreline.exe is broken, but like it's been so bad there recently. It's been so bad. I mean, the PvP's been fun, but you're totally right in what you're saying. Like almost every single time anybody has that experience where 2 people, whether it's 2 big streamers or a big streamer or a little streamer, anytime you see the like, yo, check that from my perspective, the whole community always ends up agreeing like somebody got cucked there by the game. It's rarely like like GG's, you know what I mean? It's always like, oh, you didn't hear him or he was there on your screen or whatever.
So I will say, because I featured our fight in the audio video.
Oh, did you?
Because I was talking about not net code necessarily, but like networking, and basically was saying like, here's what happens to a packet. You press mouse 1 and it was like not even a packet. It was like you press mouse 1 and that goes from your mouse to your operating system, which goes down into some IO controller inside of the client, which then has to feed to an animation system and has to feed to a ballistic system. And I was just showing how fucking complicated everything is. Just show an example of like when someone is running and you don't hear a footstep, or where when they're shooting and you don't see the gunshot, or the whole like double barrel shotgun bug. Like if one piece of information doesn't make it to the server or whatever. But while I was doing that, the whole time I was showing my perspective on our fight, like pausing it and being like, and then at the end, and I'm like, when the packet ultimately gets to like the unfortunate and it shows you, but those 2 fights, and I was like, he literally killed me like 5 minutes before. But those 2 fights actually seemed and felt good. Like watching them side by side and everything. I mean, there was nothing fucked about about that.
Yeah.
That's one of the few that I've ever seen that wasn't completely scuffed.
And
so.
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like people always talk about cheating in waves. Like, you know what I mean? Like it'll be like a thing on Twitter. It'll be this week. Everybody's like, oh my God, dying to so many cheaters. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then like 3 weeks later, Twitter will be like, oh, Tarkov feels great. Must have been a ban wave recently. Or somebody will like leak that there was a ban wave recently. And everyone's like, oh, it's feeling good. I feel like the networking comes in waves. Like, I feel like I'll have 4 or 5 or 6 days where where the PvP feels so good, where I'm dying and I'm like immediately like, man, I shouldn't have peeked there. I was overextended. Like every time I die, I know exactly what I did wrong. I can break it all down. I feel good. My kills feel good. And then I've got 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row where it's like people pre-firing corners and the first shot hitting me dying when I'm underneath somebody. Yesterday, I heard a player scav taunted, which made me think it was an AI scav. I peek it, and he's literally rubber banding. He's like, bloop, 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 bloop. He turns around, and I'm behind a metal container, and I get one tapped by his ADAR. And I was like, okay, I guess there's my slick. You can have that. And so, like, I feel like the networking comes and goes in waves. And I don't know if that's even scientifically possible, but it feels that way to me, Veritas.
I've got a theory. A content creator says things have been okay. So a content creator says things have been great. All the people that haven't played for the last month because they got bored jump onto the game, and all the additional people and everything makes the game feel shittier. And then everybody says, oh, there's cheaters and blah, blah, blah. And it's bullshit. And then they all get bored after 3 or 4 weeks, stop playing. And then all you have left are the content creators that are like, wow, everything feels good. And then everybody comes back into the game in ways like, I mean, I don't know, man. That could be it.
Yo, what? That could be it, bro.
Yeah, dude, that's hard to say. Like,
it is hard,
only
man.
Nikita has the analytics about like the concurrent players, and who the fuck knows.
Dude, I don't know what it is, man. It feels like it comes and goes in waves, but yeah, I don't know. So the standees, I haven't really been feeling too much, but I've been feeling a whole lot of the ebb and the flow of pay
attention. Tell me.
I'll pay attention.
Tell me. Because I mean, if you got killed 10 times in a row to some bullshit, and every time it was all of a sudden 10 times in a row a standard account, like not even necessarily that like it's not even necessarily that it would have stood out to me that they were cheating, It would have just been like, wow, that's a lot of standard accounts. Like, way more than normal. Like 9 out of 10 when before it was 5 out of 100.
Yeah.
So
I really wonder what the breakdown of like active accounts, like if you've played Tarkov in the past 7 days, what percentage of that are EOD, like accounts purchased on the website, verified accounts purchased on the website? Like I'm really interested, like,
yeah,
because it feels like this game has a higher than normal by a long shot average of people with the like elite edition of the game. Maybe not, but it's like insane. It's like, it's crazy to me that it's like weird to die to somebody with a regular account of the game.
The affordable.
It's insane, bro. So I don't know.
Now, another thing that came to mind, and again, like this is all just purely speculative. But like maybe let's say, ignoring anyone's experiences, in a world where let's say like the fucking anti-cheat suddenly was catching people at 10 times more of a rate than all the cheaters that have been running like radar or whatever, that have been so confident they've been running EOD, because there's a lot of cheaters run EOD because they feel like it's, and I've actually been going to a lot of the cheat forums and just fucking hate reading through all of these things and just seeing how many fucking seeing shit from their perspective. But imagine something were to get better, and then they're like, oh well, it's probably not worth going and and spending a bunch of money if like they're less confident, right? Then maybe now all the cheaters that have been buying EOD accounts are less confident, so now they went and I don't know who the fuck knows.
I don't know. It's interesting
Fucking
though.
standees, dude.
They're the standees.
Get them out of here.
Standees.
So fucking speaking of standees, the last 2 days also tagged and cursed has been my curse.
Really?
I just want Nikita to remove it from the game.
I feel like I never run into it.
So I had been having like a rough ass morning, and then like I built like 3 mutants and 2 SR25s, like the dank ones, and I was wearing, the good shit, and I'm like, because was running around for a few days before that, completely owning in factory, just getting 5 dog tags and getting out over and over and over and over again. And then I died like 17 times in a row to fucking standard edition people.
Yeah.
And then like the last kid I had left, I spawned in forklift, run out, and the guy who spawned in glass was like, kill me now, kill me quick. And it was just a hatchling. So I killed him, and then I hear the other guy coming from, where like breach door is.
Yeah.
You know how when you spawn fork, there's always someone glass, always someone.
Yep.
So I kill the guy, and then I hear 17 scavs all rushing to kill the tagged and cursed guy that's already dead. So I have a 30-round mag in my mutant while I'm getting lit up by like Tawses and stuff. So I have to mag dump, and then a random fucking dude with like a coal pack came over and killed me. And it was just like, fuck, like the hatchling got me killed because he was tagged and cursed.
Oh,
so it's that, or, if let's say you wanted to go on Lighthouse and you were playing duos, if your buddy brings in a kit for you because you died and he grabbed your shit, you're going to be tagged and cursed. Yeah. Which is going to make it fucking impossible to, play against the rogues because it's that much worse. Or, this is like 2% of my argument, but it's like 90% of my personal experience, which is when I want to do fucking viewer kits. Someone wants to drop me something. It sucks when you get all this good gear and then instantly you just hear like Swahili from everywhere because you're tagged and cursed. It's like, just remove it from the game. It didn't do anything when they introduced it with hatchlings. No. It didn't do shit. It doesn't do anything now because hatchlings aren't really a problem because the flea market found in raid combination is what. Yeah. That 100%. Is what killed the hatchling problem. Because I know people who are new to the game don't realize that there was a year or two period where 80% of the players you run into would be hatchlings.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
When I would play factory, it was the other 4 dog tags would be hatchlings. Mm-hmm. Back when there was only 5, before the expansion, there was only 5 players. Mm-hmm. So that was like the biggest problem a few years back was like, I want PvP and I go in with all this gear and I want to fight on factory and there's nobody there. It's all hatchlings. Yeah. That was like the biggest problem that the community was complaining about for like a long time. God, I wouldn't want those fucking days back.
Even pre-flea market, they would even disconnect with stuff in their gamma container because there was no flea market, there was no
and disconnect.
There was no just found and raid. It was literally just they'd get back, they'd vendor it, and they'd go again.
Because everything was so cheap that if you found, in 1 out of 10 raids, if you found a Bitcoin, that would pay for, all your shit. Because the most expensive ammo, and it was absurdly overpriced, was 995 at like $3 and change a round. Yeah, that was the most ridiculously overpriced. I remember stupidly overpriced.
I remember 4 USD 995. Yeah, and there was no limit on how many you could buy.
Yeah, and like a lot of people just didn't want to use it because how expensive it was.
It was.
Yeah, but it was a lot easier because you could run like 2 mags, 260 round mags, and like 240 rounds of 995 because you just keep it in your gamma, just drag it up, and it would instantly load into a mag. Yeah. So you were never risking ammo like you are now.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, the tagged and cursed doesn't really accomplish anything. I feel like I can't get tagged and cursed to work. I've tried that stupid quest where you have to kill the scavs in the very specific buildings on reserve. They have to cross the threshold. If you kill them out by the helicopter, they don't count. Like I used to go into raids tagged and cursed. I used to go into raids with just a hatchet and just sit in those rooms to try to get scavs to come at me, and they would never run towards me.
It's because there's not enough. I think The way that I think it's implemented is like if you're within 80 meters or whatever, like they smell you kind of thing. But
Which would
like
make
they're not
sense.
going to run across the map.
Because factory, a lot more just spawn. But on reserve, like those guys don't spawn normally until later in the raid. So I guess that would
Next
make
time
sense.
you play factory, you're going to get one of those glitched out scav voice lines. The first 1 second of the raid, the first thing you hear
yeah.
is, "Run!"
100%.
Every time.
But yeah, the Technic Curse definitely doesn't feel like it accomplishes anything, really. I don't know. It's not.
It's a vestige.
Yeah, because even if you do want a hatchet run, like all you have to do, especially these days, because you've got a 16 slot stim case, is just spawn in, pop an SJ6, and you can run faster than all the other scavs, you know what I mean, to get to where you want to go anyway. So there aren't really any hatcheters. If you did want a hatchet, you can outrun the scavs anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Technicurse is very interesting.
And the last 3 hatchet runners I've run into, 2 of them had tracksuits. So you tell me.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know why. One of the clips in my one of like the B-roll clips in my video is like me playing guitar, and I'm always playing guitar as like it's counting down. And if I spawn in forklifts, I'm like, well, I'm fucking dead because I have to put my guitar down, and that's just those 3 seconds I get fucked.
Yeah.
And I put the guitar away, I turn, and there's a dude 2 feet away with a fucking M2 sword. I'm like, ah, and I sprayed him down. But I was like, holy shit. And he was a fucking level 65 with a tracksuit.
That's insane.
I'm like, it had to have been like a 0 to hero streamer. Like I can pretty much
100%.
Guarantee.
At that point, they're doing it for the memes. They're not doing it to make money.
Yeah, and that had to have been a fucking streamer thing. Like, there's no way. There's no like, what's the motivation to get the fucking tracksuit or to do like 0 to hero?
Yeah, dude, it's
not like that fun unless you're doing it for content.
The Anton Dovahkiin runs, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's that, and then there's the post raid healing. Actually, no, so not the post raid healing, because the post raid healing is the thing that was added because it was necessary to the other thing that they added to also fight hatchlings, which is when you die, you spawn with like 5 HP.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you died, you would just be back in your stash and you'd be full
health. Yep.
As soon as they made it so that now you like the death damage, like fucking realism, like I can't even explain.
If we're gonna bring you back to life, it can't be at full HP. Like, come on.
Yeah, we're gonna bring you back as a quadriplegic.
Yeah,
so
you've
now
gotta
you're gonna
have
buy the EOD wheelchair or whatever. But like, fuck that. Like, I hate it.
Yeah,
because it's just more clicks, more annoying bullshit, and not to mention that I talk about this 2 years ago in my video where I have the full kit preset.
Oh yeah.
I talk about the full kit preset, the quick sell feature, and whatever. I basically explain that like it undermines the fact that there's hideout things and skills that all make it so that you heal passively over time. What's the point of passive healing out of raid when you get out of raid and instantly heal?
Yep.
What's the point?
That's so true. Yeah.
So I wanted to make the healing pre-raid.
Yeah.
If anything.
The rest space, I forgot, does increase how quickly you heal out of raid, which is like insane because.
Yeah, it's point. I mean, some people like don't do it and use a grizzly, I guess, but.
Yeah. Speaking of hideout things, did you know that the FP100 filter is currently broken?
Oh, I haven't even unlocked that, so no. Dude, it's always been broken in like one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of times people would put it in and it would instantly be at like 2%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's happened before, but like it doesn't. There are 180,000 rubles on the flea market, those filters, and they don't do anything. Jeepo was suspicious of it, so he did some testing and made a video. He like went into it. He did it in an offline raid so that like, because like if you do it in an online raid, no matter what, you're gaining skills, right? Just by existing in the raid and walking around, you're gaining skills and points of either endurance or strength. And the higher your skill are, the slower you get those points. So it's hard to get like super accurate numbers when you're doing it in an online raid. So he did it in an offline raid where he like same gear, same kit, same everything. He spawned in, he ran his entire stamina bar, checked how many points of endurance, hopped out, popped in an FD100 filter, went back into an offline raid. And people were like, no, your testing methodology, whatever. And so I was like, okay, I was like, chat, I was like, tell me what to do. I was like, tell me what to do. Let's do it online. And so I spawned into a raid. I ran full stamina. I checked how many points of endurance, and we just screenshotted everything. I played out that raid. After that raid, I threw an FP100 filter in. As soon as we spawned, I was like, all right, Seal, hold on. I ran my entire stamina bar out with the FP100 filter in. Same exact points. The same exact amount of points in endurance. We did it with SJ6s. And then some guy was like, no. What you have to do is you have to run half of your stamina bar. And I was like, sure, bud. Literally every single time, every test I did, I have elite strength, so I could only test endurance. But like, no matter what test we did, if the FP100 filter was on or off, I was getting the exact same amount of points in endurance. It wasn't happening faster. I wasn't getting more. It was always the exact ones. So Jeepo did a video on it, and then I saw Tobias comment, like forwarding this along to the guys. Thank you. So I didn't make like another video about it or anything too, but people, every time somebody was like, I don't know, Jeepo didn't do it, I was like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And we did it. And every single time we got the same exact. So I spent 15 million rubles on FD100 filters. I don't know how long. I have a suspicion that like they broke it when they fixed solar panel, because I think it was working earlier in the wipe. Of course, dude. But they finally fixed. Yeah, I mean, did you hear about that? I don't have solar. Solar really.
I don't have solar either.
But like, you were actually consuming fuel faster than with no solar, and the whole point of
for fuck's sake, and it cost a bajillion, an infinite number of rubles.
26 million rubles to construct solar. I did the math when I did my Bitcoin video, because you need solar to get level 3 Bitcoin.
That.
So like 26 million rubles to construct solar, and then your reward is you have to pay more money per day in fuel.
That's fucking disgusting, dude.
And it was like that for like a month and a half, dude. It was crazy. So
that's so gross.
I suspect that when they fixed that, it broke the FP100 filter. So if anybody has any clips or like, they fixed solar and then say they fixed solar. Like it was just like they did a small patch and solar was just fixed one day. So they might do some sort of back end technical patch that I don't know about that fixes it. But as at least the last time I checked, the FP100 filter was broken.
Well, I'm glad that I didn't even build it. Otherwise, I probably would have wasted a bunch of money.
Yeah, I've spent so much money on those filters, dude. I've spent so much money.
Get wrecked.
But I didn't spend 26 million on solar, so there's that. Yeah. Dude, okay, so I wanted to talk about this. Like, I don't want to get too in the weeds or start like calling people out or anything. I just like we're at the point in the wipe where like I can't be on Twitter like, because it's just annoying. I've seen so many people complaining on Twitter about like, I miss the old Tarkov, give us the old Tarkov back. The gun balance is so boring. This is so stupid. Dying to mutants every wipe, mutants or M80 is so dumb. It's so boring, yada yada. And I just like, I'm at this point where I'm like so frustrated, because like I want to just like look at the timeline of a wipe, because to me it's like, what's boring is how predictable you are with your tweets. What's boring to me is that we can almost scientifically count it down that like 72 days after wipe, since you have Kappa and elite strength, endurance, attention, perception, health, you start complaining about the meta. And it's like, nobody's...
Are you talking about like regular community members, or is it more from content creators?
I feel like, well, a little bit of both, but I feel like more from content creators. But I just feel like it's the community of people that like just giga chad the game. Like they just play it a ton, whether they're a community member or not. Because then I'll read through the replies from people I like that don't, and they're like, oh yeah, dude, give us 2016 PvP or whatever. And it's just like, it's just so funny to me that after the wipe, it was like universal. This was like the best wipe ever. Like everybody was like, VoIP is insane. This is really good. Like Inertia's a little clunky. Inertia was the thing. A lot of people were like, I don't know. But, you know, I'm already kind of used to it. It just felt so good. And it's just like, I don't know. I get the frustration, but it's like, I don't know. It's just like there will be no gun balance until the game is complete.
There will never be gun balance.
Probably,
ever.
yeah.
There will never be gun balance. Like Nikita has I said this a bajillion years ago. The only way that there will not be a meta is if like a gun has, you know, like Call of Duty where there's the 5 bars and it has 4 damage and 2 accuracy, or 4 accuracy and 2 damage, or if basically the TTK for everything is effectively the same. Yeah. You're always gonna have a meta for the guns that feel good. And
100%. And so like it's so crazy to me because this wipe, I feel like everything has its place. You know what I mean? I use SMGs when I want to go factory or if I'm in the resort. DMRs are used so much more than they were in the past. SMGs are used more than they were in the past. Guns like M4s and HKs are used less than they were in the past. And it's like, it's just so this is what's boring to me. It's just that every wipe, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, the Vector's terrible, nerf the Vector. Oh, the Mutant's terrible, nerf the Mutant. Oh, the HK's terrible, mute the... And it's just like... And what's crazy to me is that this is so often coming from people that have everything. They have 17 thick items cases. They have 670 million rubles. And it's like...
Wait a month, and they're going to say, we need another map and we need more guns. It's going to turn into, we need more content.
I just don't... What I try to do is I try to put myself in their shoes and I'm trying to be empathetic. I'm at the point where I'm like, please tell me why you are playing Escape from Tarkov. Because I don't get it. I don't get why you're playing this game. It has a history of being really inconsistent. It's going to be inconsistent moving forward. There's probably never going to be any amount of gun balance. There's RNG out the wazoo, and it's buggy as hell. And then on top of those things, what you are applying that you want out of it is like a really consistent, competitive, skill-based PvP. And it's like, you're not like, whatever gun balance you think the game needs wouldn't make the game what you want it. It's not. There's too much RNG. It's like, why are you playing this game? Stop playing this game. Stop
because
it. Stop complaining about it and just go play a game that is what you want and wait for the arena. And maybe that is what you want. Maybe the arena will be what you want out of Tarkov. And I get that there's draws here, but it's like, what do you like? They have everything in the game, so it all boils down to the PvP. Like they exist in this game for PvP, for competitive PvP, and it's like this is the farthest thing from a consistent, balanced, competitive PvP game. This is the farthest thing possible from that. So like when you complain, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like me complaining that my freaking Toyota Camry, no matter how hard I smash the gas pedal, won't go 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. It's like, it's a Camry, bro. Go buy a Lambo or stop complaining about your Camry. I'm just so frustrated.
Got Jesse with the metaphor time this time. Nice.
I just like, and once again, it's so consistent. It's so consistent. Wipe happens. Everyone's excited. All of the high level changes they make, VoIP, economy changes. Everyone's like, yes. You know, the guns that everybody was using were nerfed a little bit. Everyone's like, yes. And then the hyper focused 0.01% of players get to the top, they get Kappa, they get tracksuit, they get 200 million rubles, they get their 7 thick items cases, they're all filled with slicks, and then they all start complaining about whatever the new gun meta is and how terrible PvP feels. And it's just like, I don't understand why you're playing this game. And I want to know, and I'm not trying to be a dick. Tell me, somebody at me, mention me on Twitter, DM me, why the hell are you playing this game? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I mean, devil's advocate on just one part of that, and that's what you just said, why are they playing the game? Because I constantly fucking complain about how broken it is.
Yeah.
So, but you could say the same thing. Like, why are you playing the game? The reason why I still play the game, no matter how fucking much I hate it, is because 5% of the time it is what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And it's like an abusive relationship, and there's nothing else to play.
But you're complaining about
my
things
answer.
that align with where the game is very vocal about wanting to go.
Yeah,
and I feel like other people,
what it wants to be.
I feel like other people complain about things that align with games that are already made and not what Tarkov wants to be. So in my brain, I just can't reconcile play the games that have already been made that accomplish this goal and stop trying to get a game that's not trying to be that goal to accomplish that goal. I can respect the hell. I can absolutely respect the hell out of the fact that you as a player want highly competitive, highly consistent PvP. I have absolutely zero interest in Valorant, but I can totally understand why people want that experience. So like what I'm not saying here is that what I want out of the game is the right way and what you want out of the game is the wrong way. Like what you want to entertain you is totally subjective and that's totally up to you. And I can't tell you that it's wrong that you want this. It's just like I can't tell you that like you want a Lambo, I want a Camry. Neither of us are wrong. I can tell you when you're wrong when you want a Lambo and you start abusing vocally the Camry because it's like you're not in the right place, dude. If you've got the money, go get the Lambo. No matter what spoiler or freaking kit you put on the Camry, it's not going to be a Lambo. So it's like I just can't. I just can't understand it, Veritas.
You can't win no matter what though, because if they're sick of all the mutants and the HKs and blah blah blah, the flip side is, God, I hate every other gun is the Mosin and the double barrel with Flechette.
Yeah.
It's like either you want everything to be viable or you only want the best things to be viable, and then that's all you're gonna see. You can't fucking have it all. But here's the thing with. And again, like I'm not talking about anybody in particular, because honestly, I don't watch that many streams.
Yeah.
I don't know what people's fucking. I assume every other streamer's level fucking 97 by now, and they've gotten their third Capra without resetting somehow.
Yeah, like, somehow, yeah.
But like the people that play the game that seriously, not always, but very often. First of all, how do I say this? It's almost like those are the people that can't see the fucking forest for the trees.
Yeah.
They're the ones that say Steam audio doesn't work and it's broken and it's the worst thing. They're the ones that have never noticed all of their teammates, They run around and they kill people before they get a chance to see how broken the netcode is. And like, so people always say that they're abusing ping or abusing peeker's advantage. No, they're fucking oblivious. They think they're gods very often, and they don't realize. Like, I genuinely don't think that so many people who play the game that are like the best, they're like not paying attention. They're not paying attention to so many of the details. They don't know how the fucking ballistics work, how pen works. They just know that 995 is what I need to use and M61 is what I need to use.
Yeah.
But ask them, what's the fucking pen chance? And they'll go like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because skill does not equal knowledge. That's why I'm dog shit at the game, but I know a bunch. You know?
And that's and once again, and that's not to hate on people like you don't. It shouldn't be a requirement to be good at this game to have all that knowledge. No. So I totally get what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is to clarify that what you're saying isn't a diss on them. It's like they play the game a lot. They have a lot of natural skill for shooters and stuff like that. But you're exactly right. It's like it's not like you don't really see the desync a lot when you win every fight because you're really good at the game when you're aggressive. You don't notice how bad the audio is as much when you've got an Alton on and you're shift doubling all the loot locations. It's like you don't have to have that information to be good at Tarkov, but it's hard when I don't know. I just like and I'm just wondering when, as somebody who's been around since 2018, as somebody who's been around since 0.9. I want to know what wipe they're talking about. Bring back the old PvP, because I can't remember a wipe where not everybody was complaining about some gun being broken.
No. So here, what they want is was the wipe where I had the best PvP, but I don't necessarily think it's what Tarkov is or should be, which is point 0.7 and point 0.8, where the thing was everybody was running a kitted out either AK-74 or with PRS, by the way, or a maxed out M4 with fucking Mark 255 or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And they were all wearing Fort Fast because that was when I had a 30 KD and I had a 50 win streak, because even I could just roll around and murk literally everybody all the time, unless it was the one raid I ran into fucking Willers or the one raid, so like that's what they want. They just want, they don't ever want to die, they don't ever want to lose, but the problem is now that they're dying to a bunch of other meta people because the game is RNG and there's a bunch of, so it's a coin flip. They're now experiencing the coin flip that I've been bitching about for 2 fucking years now.
Yeah. I like, and I don't know. And you don't have to comment it, even though I'm sure you will. I shouldn't let it get to me. And I just like, I'm so excited for this game, and I'm so passionate for this game, and what it just feels like other people are also excited and other people are so passionate. It just seems like they're so passionate about wanting something so different, and not just different than what I want, but different than like what Nikita has said he wants for the game to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like at every chance he gets, he clarifies that this game will get harder, that this game will get more RNG. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was freaking talking about permadeath the other day. And sometimes I feel like he throws that stuff out there just to like remind people, like, it's not getting better in that sense. And like, we're not removing RNG from the game, right? We're adding it. Like claymores are coming, RPGs are coming, underbarrel grenade launchers are coming. If you want a fair and balanced 5-gun deathmatch game, this is not it. Maybe Arena will be, but like, this isn't it, man. And so I just like, so a lot of these people are from people that I love, people that I hang out in their chats all the time, people that I genuinely enjoy watching them play and learn from watching them play. I just don't understand. I don't understand what it accomplishes. I don't understand what they want. I don't remember these good old days they're talking about. Some of these people I know for a fact started playing the game in 2019, by the way. So I'm like, what wipe are you talking about? Like,
Dude,
don't.
You'll have to send me some tweets, because I don't exactly know what people are saying. But all I can say is that I'm wondering. I have like a gut feeling about like my interpretation. I could be wrong. I'm basing this off of your description of, but to me it seems more like it's less about the game and the design of it, and it's more that they're playing an unfinished game way too much, and they just want something. To me, it sounds exactly like this game, we need more content argument, where it's like, you don't realize the more content, like they don't realize that a new map is only fun for 2 weeks, and then it's just another map and they want the next one. Yeah. It's just constantly moving the goalposts. It's kind of what I meant when I said like they don't see the forest for the trees. Like they're just, it's so one-dimensional and simplified, where there's always just one thing to say that we need, and this is all we need. Yeah. But they're not looking at the more complicated gray area stuff where it's like, imagine, imagine open world with like respawning in plus VoIP plus, the flea market with new restrictions plus a whole bunch of other shit. They say, we want daily quests. That's the solution. Daily quests are going to be the fucking solution. Yeah. Lighthouse is going to be the solution. Fucking whatever the new map is, Streets of Tarkov is going to be the solution. No, 3 weeks in, you're going to have Kappa, and you're going to be bitching about some new thing. They don't realize that the issue is the core gameplay loop is what they have a problem with, and that they don't even know why they're upset. Yes, let's say that again, so that I don't get people flamed, in the back, so that I don't get flamed for this. The problem is what you just said.
The problem is the core gameplay loop that they have a problem with. The problem is not their opinion. The problem is not, once again...
Tell us how much you hate them.
I hate them so much. The problem isn't what they want out of entertainment from video games. The problem is just a disconnect in the core gameplay loop of this game and it not lining up. It definitely reminds me, or it definitely convinces me. I have no idea what the arena is going to look like. But if I were at Battlesnake Games, I'd be like, give me $50 million and I'm going to go hire a team. Like, if they did Valorant, but like not fantasy, they would just
like 5v5,
they would
like
just
CS:GO.
They would win the world, right? Like, the fact that the best alternative to Valorant is still CS:GO, and that game came out when I was like in the womb. Like,
yeah.
The fact that that's the best, like Tarkov. Now, once again, I'm not saying that this would be easy, but I'm saying, like, I don't know what arena is going to be. But if you gave somebody the opportunity to build a version of Tarkov where they stripped away every ounce of RNG, they deleted 97% of the guns. There were 6 guns, 5 maps, and they put it on 120 tick rate servers, they would just win. They would just win. They would just win the world, because it's what feels like it's what everybody wants, but they're trying to apply that logic to my slow tactical looter shooter game.
Dude, you want to hear my hot take of the week, and I hope I get proven wrong? Arena's never coming.
I mean, listen, bro, it's
dude,
very possible.
Think about all the things that they've been working on for fucking ever. We haven't heard one thing. Like, the last time I heard Nikita mention Arena was like 2 years ago.
No, see, that's the thing. That's the only reason why I kind of think it is coming, is because, like, he mentioned it fairly recently. He said, I don't know, he said something about it. He said within the past 6 months that they wanted Arena out by the end of this year, by the end of 2022. I do not believe that is going to happen. I do not believe that's going to happen. But it had been so long. We had radio silence on the Arena for so long, and then, like, Nikita said something about it, and I was like, yo, if yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, bro, if you wanted to nix it, you would just never talk about it again. He said something about it. I don't know. But you're absolutely right. It may never come out. But, like, if it doesn't come out, that would seem like a hugely missed opportunity for them, because remember, yeah, because they said it was when they announced it was going to be a separate game. There was, like, drama about that. It was like, unless you have EOD, you're not going to get access to the Arena for free. You have to buy it.
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
That was when he talked about it. I don't know.
That makes me seem like they're gonna release the game, work on a bunch of patches, and then maybe think about it. Yeah. But at that point, Nikita's gonna be like, let's start working on fucking, some
Russia
other game,
2028 or whatever.
Russia 2028. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
listen, once again, the point wasn't that, like, I think Arena's around the corner. The point is that, like, I don't know what their idea for Arena is, but if it was just CS:GO set in Tarkov, they would crush. I feel like it would be such a win. You know what I mean?
It would only be a win if they fix the core. Like, you can't have CS:GO.
No,
unless you have pixel perfect fucking nanosecond netcode.
Yeah.
Like, it's just way too precise and way like. Now, it's just too fucking janky to be competitive. Like, can you imagine, dude? Like, how broken it would look when they, the fucking ESL tournament, blah blah blah, and you're watching, you're watching like the third person cam, like the spectators are, and you'd be like, oh shit, you see one guy like running in place, dude, in like we have like the silhouette through the wall, like
100%.
Dude, it would such a mess.
It would be a mess, but if they got rid of so much of the stuff, you know what I mean? If they got rid of 70% of all the maps and they got rid of half the guns and stuff like that, maybe it would free up resources. I don't know. Now, what I did want to talk about really quickly was, outside of the, like, just general complaining, the game sucks, why do they keep making it worse, all that stuff I have a problem with. The two things that I do see coming up frequently when somebody wants to specify, which I appreciate, is Inertia and, like, the recoil system. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. As somebody who's So like the kind of 10,000 foot view is now that I'm much later in the wipe and I've got like elite strength and I've got more money and I'm taking out more Chad kits, I'm experiencing inertia at the top level more, like pulling out 50, 60, 70 kilos worth of stuff. You know
like
what I mean?
That last raid I had.
Yes.
Before the podcast.
And I'm a big fan of inertia being in the game, but like I can understand why, like it feels crazy clunky and ice skatey up at that level. I don't know if you saw a clip, but like there was a clip of Velian. He was like, you know how on customs, you're up by marked room and you can go out on the big balcony, like the open, you're on the third floor, and you can peek the car side stairs. If someone's coming up, you can like peek that and like shoot them before they come up there. He went around to peek and inertia just took him off the edge, and he weighed so much he died when he hit the ground. And he was like, I stopped like 3 steps before. Like, it was interesting.
Dude, I mean, I died yesterday or the day, or maybe 2 days ago, to trying to do a jiggle peek. And it was like, and this was 2 seconds after spawn. I was at 35 or 27 kilograms, empty bag on factory. And I went and jiggle peeked, and it was like, you know, and I'm like, oh, well, I just died there because I forgot about inertia. But I think like, I'm not, this is not me saying that I love inertia or that I think it feels good, because it feels shitty, but I think it does exactly what Nikita wants.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you having a Chevrolet on your back.
Yeah.
Jiggle peeking people. He wants you to drop your fucking bag and engage, right? So I think that's like the answer.
Which makes sense. It's just so basically what it was like, okay, I just think I think it's worth revisiting and just being like, how do we think about inertia 3 months in, right? Because everybody was like, inertia is going to ruin the game. And then it came out and a lot of people were like, hey, inertia's not that bad. I'm used to it. But now we're in a lot of different use cases, and we're much later in the game, and we're a lot more people are doing less quests and engaging in more PvP. So it's like it's worth taking back and looking at it. And what I was thinking about was like to the credit of those people that are complaining about inertia, it is funny that like one of the big arguments for inertia was that like you play a ton of games right now with inertia and you don't know. And like Tarkov's not one of those games. Like, you play a game with inertia. You know what I mean? So like a lot of the argument was like, yeah, most of these other games, it was like medical animations. It was like you were freaked out about that because it was a change. But like so many of the games that you play have medical animations and it doesn't. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. But this definitely felt like you notice it all the time. So I don't know. I just like, I mean, I'd be down with tinkering it. Like, I think inertia is good. I think it's good for the game. I think it does serve a purpose. I think it does do Nikita once. I think it puts it in a better perspective. But I can at least understand why people want it to be tuned down a little bit, I guess.
I mean, I think there's ways to make it so that it has the same result without feeling so bad. Like, I hated that when I was running through labs. Granted, I had 70 something kilograms, right? Like, but in real life, I wouldn't like jog and then go to grab a doorknob and just walk straight into the fucking door. Like, I literally couldn't loot anything because I would like, I'd be going so slow, and then I'd walk over to the thing and I'd go to hit F on it, and I would just fucking flat face first into the shelf or the door or the wall. And it was like, so like, I think there's ways that you could make it so that it didn't feel as floaty.
Yes.
Like when I played Pop Warner football back in the day, and there's a difference between when you want to like do a fucking like juke somebody, and like you need to have the right footwork so that you can shift the weight properly. There are plenty of people watch some clips of like Emmitt Smith back in, I don't know any contemporary fucking football players, so I'm dating myself here. But like, see how some of those fucking guys can fucking, go the other way, and that's like,
yes.
But I mean, then you watch me, and I'm gonna fucking like try to do it and basically stop and like not be able to go. So maybe you should be able to stop instantly, but not go in the other direction. Like you stop and then it takes a much longer to go, but not stop, slide, go back the other way. Like
I exactly agree.
I think they could make it feel better without
Because it feels like the slide is an abstraction where they're trying to simulate like you'd fall over. Like, because that's what would really happen. If I've got 70 kilos on my back and I'm running full sprint and I stop, I'm not going to take more steps. I'm going to fall over. Because if my brain told my feet to stop, they're going to stop, right? Like, you know what I mean? But then physics would say, no, you're not going to stop, and I would just fall over. So exactly, I feel like, I feel like we're getting to something here. I agree. I feel like the slowing of my movement, if I've got 70 kilos and I take a corner, that corner is going to be slower. That's good. If I'm running and I stop and I want to change direction, that taking longer, that's good. But me being heavy and me stopping and then the game applying more motion to me, that I think is what feels bad. So I'd be really interested to play a version of the game where that mechanic, the slide, is reduced by like 85%, but then all the other stuff with inertia is left in. So I feel like I have control over my dude tighter, but it's going to be slow and tight, not quick and tight. The old meta was just quick. Now it's going to be slow, but I'm still going to be in control of my own movement.
This is exactly the same conceptual issue I had with the limiting semi-auto fire. In real life, you feel the trigger.
Yeah.
So it's much more natural to shoot at a realistic speed than when I click a mouse, I can go. Yeah. So in real life, you have the feedback of your fucking legs and the weight and the momentum. So you would know how soon you need to stop before you get, like you would know what feels. And the problem is that a part of it is that we aren't used to it. But the other part of it is like, I don't know that we should get used to it. This is the abstraction of realistic things in well-designed game mechanics.
Yeah.
So what you don't have is 95% of the feedback that you would have in real life that would make it so that you would never run and then stop so much that you fell over.
Yeah.
Because you would know, like, you would be like, oh, I got to slow down. You remember a kid? Did you ever run down a hill way too fast where you're like, fuck?
Yes.
Unless if they tried to put that in the game where, like, what was that fucking game? Death Stranding. If they put that in the game where if you're like running down the rocks, right? Like now you just break your legs. But imagine in Tarkov where you would run down a hill and just trip because the backpack was so heavy. It's like, if you don't give me, if you don't have physical feedback, then it just feels like shit.
Yeah.
So I understand that people don't like the way it feels, and I can empathize with the specific ways in which, like, that makes sense, but you also don't realize if and how it affects. Like, I've always been on the side of like, I don't know, that it doesn't feel to me that inertia has ever like made a difference in a fight, but that's only because it's impossible to know because of the shitty net code and all that stuff. So yeah, it's really hard. I've never been like, wow, that guy had 80 kilograms on him. It's always been like, he was a fucking Chad. Usually what they do is they just hold D and mouse swing. 1. Before it was 80-80. Now it's just, I'm just going to fucking wide swing.
And they pre-fire it,
after they drop their bags. So
yeah. But I don't know, man. I really think it would feel so much better if it was just, if we removed the slide, if we removed the movement, because you're exactly right. And what's crazy is that like it's inconsistent. Like you were saying, certain things they abstract and they kind of like give you like, yeah, your PMC would know this, so he'll do it. But then some things they don't, like exactly right. Like if you were running, you would never, especially if you were running for your life, you would never have your brain send just stop. You know what I mean? Because then you'd fall over. All those things. And so it's inconsistent what mechanics they put in the game where they're like, well, yeah, of course, your player would know this. He's a highly trained PMC. He would know to do this here. He would know to pull down recoil. That was their justification for like the auto aim recoil. Like, oh, he would know how to do that. But it's like he would also know how to run and not fall over, right? So don't make me slide out. He would know to do that. So I would really be interested in to see what that would feel like. Make it slower to turn, slower to move, slower to run, slower to change direction, slower to peek corners when I'm heavy, but make that tighter Just don't push me around when I stop. Like and I genuinely feel like, of course you wouldn't satisfy everybody, but I genuinely feel like that would be a middle ground where like it accomplishes, like you were saying, it wouldn't be like doing that would completely revert inertia, because it's not like inertia has completely, and it would feel better for a lot of people.
Dude, I mean, I actually never really mind when I hold Shift D and I'm like, clunk,
Yeah.
clunk, clunk.
It like
clunk,
adds to it.
clunk.
You're like, oh crap, chat.
I'm
Like this is
you know, but
Yeah.
but so that doesn't feel bad to me. What feels bad is when I'm going and I want to go unlock a door and I just like slide
Yes.
way past it. And
dude. That,
so
exactly.
imagine if they just made it so that it took like longer potentially to get your speed up.
Yeah.
But if you could, and again, like this isn't realistic, but just imagine when you hit A or D, the opposite, you stopped really quickly, you know, like one step or something, no matter what your weight was. But if you wanted to go back the other way, it's going to take a long ass time. That would not feel so shitty.
It wouldn't feel so
and
bad.
You couldn't 80 strafe because you'd be like, what? Fuck, you know?
Dude,
so
yes. I really think
that's actually way better than the wide sweep too, because now you can stand right at the thing and just go sweep, and you know, so that would make it so that you'd be like, ha, you know, and then you get
100%
shot so much easier.
It would literally, I feel like it would make corner play feel better, because exactly that, it would place the inertial detriment to your character on the initiation of movement. If you peek, you kind of got to commit to the peek because you can't turn around. But it wouldn't be like where you just slide out into oblivion. You know what I mean? I don't know. I genuinely think that would feel better.
Think about the Chad meta of I'm gonna run by, free look, and then you know peek. Now you run by, free look, skate to a stop, and then go by and just spray going back the other way. This would slow that down.
Yeah.
A lot, right? Because then you'd have to like back way up if you wanted to actually slide, you know, if you wanted to be able to, you know, be much quicker.
Yeah.
I like that idea so much that I might mention it to Nikita. Just be like, put more of the front load it.
Yeah.
Front load the inertia.
Yeah, because I would know how to stop, but it would be hard to get up to speed. You know what I mean? Like, because then I actually think that would also then push what he wants more, which is a remembering to ditch my bag, because then I can avoid that, right? It's like, and then that's on me. That's on the player to like remember, boom, ditch the bag, shoom. And then I can make those movements I want to move at a much lower weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which I had to add him. But I had an unban request where somebody was like, he basically implied that I personally added inertia into the game. He was like, screw you. I can't believe you convinced Nikita to add inertia. And I was like, oh, thank you. I didn't know that I was around in 2016 when they were talking about it.
Oh my
anyways,
God.
The other thing that I feel like people are talking about, and this came up recently, and I saw you talking to One Peg about it on Twitter. This can be the last thing that we can do, but was this whole like the recoil thing. So they made the recoil change, right, where they like reduced the amount of like auto recoil your PMC did, which it's.
You saw me talking.
Yeah, hold on. We'll get there. He made that video about like how all the 5.56 guns are terrible, and you were like, yeah, all those numbers are meaningless. Like you can't compare an RPK to a M4. You know what I mean? Like those numbers don't mean anything. And he was like, yeah, I know. I was just like, so
gotcha.
I'll get there. So in 12.12, they reduced the amount of PMC automatic recoil compensation by some arbitrary amount, which meant that
didn't even know.
Which meant that the numbers, right, like 32 recoil last wipe and 32 recoil this wipe feel different. They didn't change the stats of the weapons so that if you had been playing Tarkov and you knew what...
that was the beginning of this wipe, not
wipe.
Like, I thought you meant like a week or two ago. I'm like, I didn't notice fucking anything.
No.
Okay.
The beginning of this wipe, they changed it. So like if they had changed the stats of the weapons, then a player that played last wipe would be like, I know how a 32 recoil M4 feels. Now the best you can get it in game is 48. I kind of have an understanding of what that's probably going to feel like. They changed a different thing on the back end, the auto PMC recoil compensation. So you can
numbers
still
just mean something different.
So you can still get to a 32 vertical recoil M4, but that feels different now. And that's opened up this well of like, they changed that. They changed the drop and the ballistics of the guns, and they fly faster, but then the damage falls off and they fly flatter, and then the recoil. And now I feel like people are waking up to the fact that like people like you have always known, which is that like these numbers are meaningless. Like you cannot compare 42 vertical recoil at a 650 RPM 762 mutant to 45 recoil 900 fire rate HK to an 1100 fire rate vector. Like the different caliber,
not even that.
The different barrel length, the different rate of fire, like those
Dude,
numbers.
it's the same thing. You can't compare the recoil on a Vepr with exactly like 136 to an AKM single fire.
Exactly.
It won't feel the same.
Exactly. The fact that like have you ever looked at what the recoil of pistols have? Like if you have the game open, pull up a 5.7. The combined recoil is like 480. Of like the pistol recoil.
Dude, I have the 5.7 is 555.
Yeah. What does that mean? What like the vertical recoil of an SKS you can get to 40, but a 5.7 the vertical recoil is 211.
It's why the stats don't matter. Like I've said forever, when people are like, "Oh, dude, that thing has 48 recoil," and it's like, you don't know what that fucking means.
Yeah, exactly.
You're used to seeing the bar like this, and when you see the bar like this, you're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. So I feel like once again, what I'm trying to do is like earlier I was saying I was super frustrated with people complaining about the high level stuff about like what if they want a different thing out of the game. What I'm trying to do is go back and like the people that are specific about certain things, I can actually empathize and understand with. The inertia, I agree. I'm glad it's in the game. You might not be, but I can agree that maybe it should be tinkered. Same thing here with the recoil. It's like I don't want to go back to like HK laser beam meta. A lot of people do. I don't want to go back there. But I do agree that the recoil system in the game is bunk, because it goes back to everything we always talk about. The experience of the game and the practical use of the game tell you two different things. It feels like the game is so focused on these numbers, right? All the attachments have different stats, different ergo, different recoil. It seems like it really wants you to focus on those things, but then...
Sorry, that guy wouldn't.
I know.
Up,
I couldn't
dude.
stop reading his messages too.
I had to ban his ass. He would not shut up. I basically, once I see someone being shitty in chat, being toxic, saying a bunch of hot, dumb takes, and then I see they're not following me, I'm like, okay, that's the last straw. Like, if you're gonna be shitty in my chat, at least hit the fucking follow button.
Yeah. So the game. No, it's fine. It was distracting me too, so I'm glad you did something about it. So what I'm saying is I agree that the recoil system is weird, because whether you want HK meta or whether you want like realistic, you would never really full auto, if you're milsim or if you're HK meta, wherever you sit on the spectrum, the recoil system in the game is dumb, because it doesn't give the player any sort of agency to like make a decision, right? Like it feels like you have to be playing the game as long as we have played to even understand. Yeah, no, like you have to have 4,000 hours in the game to come to the conclusion that all those numbers are meaningless and it's all about feeling. Just go with what feels best. And you're like, what? Like, why are there even numbers if it's just go with what you feel? So
what it needs to be is like average pixels displaced on your screen and make it from 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Problem solved, because then there might be different kind of different patterns, right? But at least it's like, if you're gonna go like this, right, or if it's gonna go like this. They might feel different, but at least it makes sense from a game design perspective.
Yeah,
and it makes sense from a communication perspective.
Yes. Because I think that was so good. Because I think that that's another huge problem. That's another thing that contributes to a lot of people complaining about the game. And this is where the high-level people complaining about the game is a good thing, right? Because they have more experience than most people. So it's good to hear like, wow, you've got a lot more hours, you've got a lot more raids. Tell me what you're seeing that I'm not seeing. I mean, I'm seeing this too, but like, because right now it does feel bad. It feels really bad that a 48 vertical recoil mutant feels better than a 27 vertical recoil MPX. And in your brain, you're like, this gun's a submachine gun. This gun's a submachine gun. It's shooting a smaller round and it has much less vertical recoil. This should be more controllable, right? Wrong. That thing jumps like absolutely insane. It is almost impossible to keep your shots on target, but the 49 vertical recoil mutant that shoots a much bigger caliber, you're like, well, this would probably have some kick to it, right? And it's like, no, not really. Just hold mouse 1 and try and correct. So it's very inconsistent. We're at a really weird spot where, like, even just at a high level view, like SMGs, like, okay, yeah, I've played video games. SMGs always have less recoil but less power. Wrong. Like, you know, it's just like at every step of the way right now, the recoil system kind of feels like there's just no rhyme or reason to it. And I can empathize with that and agree with it and want that change. You know what I mean? So
it only here's the thing. The things that people don't notice until they get slapped in the mouth with the thing, because people don't notice subtle details.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like what I've been saying for fucking ever.
No,
it's like, look at all these systems that, like, it's not until it becomes so obvious that only a moron would miss it.
No, you're absolutely
that
right.
Everybody's like, it's a problem. No, it's always been a fucking problem.
No, you're right. And that's why they've had such a hard time with weapon balance in the past, is because the way it's all applied means if you want this gun to be better, it's going to make these 4 guns brokenly better. So everybody says, buff this gun, buff this gun, buff this gun. So they tune it up a little bit, and then all these guns are crazy overpowered. And then if this gun's crazy overpowered, they're like, no, nerf this, nerf this. Everybody uses this, nerf this. They nerf it. And they're like, well, why does this gun suck now? And it's like, it's because you didn't understand that what they were operating from wasn't what you thought, which is that all these numbers actually hold any sort of value, and that, you know, all the logic you're applying, 32 recoil, these should be similar, 50 recoil, 50, these should be similar, SMG, these should be similar. Like, all of that is out the window, and whatever math they're doing, whenever the community riots about something and says nerf this, and then it affects everything else and they don't get why, it's always been a problem. But this has been the wipe where whatever change they made to the back end, where they made all full auto guns recoil worse, it's just brought that to the front. You know, it's a balance of what we've talked about since the beginning of this wipe. So many of the things that have felt bad in the game feel so good now that the things that are left to complain about hit us in the head so many times a day that we're more upset about them, even though they've always been a problem. Like you and me, like, you know, I have been harping on the AI. I'm so pissed at the AI, but you know, the AI has been that bad since 2017. It's just that when there were other things to complain about, it didn't seem that bad to me. And now that there's less things to complain about, I can't stop complaining about the AI. They make me so mad.
Well, it was so bad. It wasn't obvious until the people were farming, trying to farm the fucking whatever tracksuit.
Oh yeah.
And they realized the killer was broken.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the AI's always been bad. It's just now there's a badder version with that is the same exact bad, but now they have better ammo, they react faster, and they have more aim and whatever. But it's the same fundamental issue.
Fundamentally, exactly. Fundamentally, the issue is still there and still present. It's just, maybe now there's a boss with crazy ammo, and you're like, whoa, why is he so bad? And it's like, no, he's not bad. Everybody's bad. Or they give Vepr Hunter scavs M61, and we're like, why are the scavs broken? It's like, no, they were always broken, but when they hit you with TPZ, it wasn't as big of a deal. Now they're one-tapping you with M61.
Yeah, and get ready for when they fix the scavs so that the incremental lean doesn't work, the rogue, so that the incremental lean doesn't work.
Oh,
and
it's game over.
So they won't be, then they're going to start complaining, oh, it's broken. No, it's always broken. Before, you were just telling all the people to get good, but you didn't realize that you were taking advantage of broken game mechanics. You might be better, but you didn't win against them because you're good.
Yeah.
It's because you had a monopoly on one very specific piece of information.
Yeah.
And everybody that's a brainlet is like, this person's such a god. Oh my God, look, there's, and it's like, okay, and then they'll run around and ignore all of the fucking obvious things because they figure out a way to kind of avoid them until their favorite gun falls victim to the thing. Yeah. And then it's suddenly the biggest travesty ever.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying, is that, like, it's so easy to just, like, completely dump on Tarkov. And if you've ever watched the podcast, you know that we do that all the time, right? But it's just more than that, right? Like, the game is in a good spot, and because of a lot of the other things that used to feel bad feeling much better, the things that feel bad aren't worse. The AI is not worse than last wipe, is what I'm trying to say. It's just you're noticing it more because of and new things that were added, like the rogues, and because you have less things to complain about. So you're which is me too. So yeah, going back, like I just thought it was important to do that because like I'm super frustrated and super tired of seeing all this just like, you know, the game sucks, give us 2017 PvP back. And I just like, I think you want the wrong thing out of this game. But at the same time, I do think it's fair to kind of on the flip side of that and see like what are the things I'm noticing the most, and the recoil system and inertia are those things. And I do think there's valid points to both. The recoil system has always been busted, and your 4-second alternative is infinitely better in my opinion. And the inertia, I absolutely think could be tuned down. So there's a lot. It's complicated, and I don't know what's going on over there. But
the same. This will be the final thing I say. The same people that are misidentifying the problem and can't come up with a solution other than do the opposite of the dumb thing that I think is the problem. Yeah. They're the same ones who say, "Why hasn't BSG fixed it yet?"
Yeah.
Because BSG is just as fucking clueless on these design issues as you are.
Yeah.
Half the time you say we need more content or we need this, and then what happens is the HK is too good. You want to complain about it? Cool. Well, now the VSS is too good. You want to complain about it? Cool. Well, now MP7 and the P90 are too good. You want to complain about it? Cool. The Mosin's too good. The fucking shotguns are too good with Flechette.
Yeah.
Now that's going to be dog shit, and it's going to be something different because everybody looks at it so shallowly.
Yeah.
And so lazily, they can't fathom that it's a little bit more complicated than face value.
Yeah.
I keep getting killed by Gun X. Gun X is the problem. Okay, yep, that's it. So when they nerf Gun X and then there's a new gun that's a problem, people don't think, wow, maybe it's a different problem. Maybe it's a fundamentally different problem. Nope, it's the one thing that's right in front of my eyes because I can't see the fucking forest for the trees.
Yeah. And once again, if you're new to the game or if you're just like a casual gamer, I wouldn't really expect you to have that nuanced of an opinion on it. But that's why it's frustrating when the people with 8,000 hours in the game, it's like, that's what
the new people only come to those opinions because they hear it from the people with 8,000 hours in the game.
That's where I go back to like when I was saying that's a boring opinion to me. You're saying that like Tarkov is so boring. It's like that's so boring because like let's just like look back through your tweets and every wipe 70 days into the wipe you're mad about this new gun being meta or that new gun being meta. It's like if you've got 8,000 hours in the game, when do you realize that it's not just about one gun being meta that's the problem? It's like there's deeper issues here, and those are the things we need to bring up to Nikita or even just trust that they'll do eventually. I don't know. I'm not saying Nikita doesn't listen to the freaking podcast. We're just here yelling about stuff. I get it, but either way, I'm just saying that like it's just frustrating to
at least I complain that the game is boring because I'm not actually playing it. I sit in my stash all day long because I'm dead. So it's boring for a different reason. But at least I want to make the menus better, and at least I proposed something, that was actually good on how to fix it. I didn't just bitch about it.
Yeah.
So I bitch and moan and cry and mauled, but then I put out a video that says, here's how you fix it.
Research and work. Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know. That's it. That's what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. That's what's going on in the world of Tarky right now. Did you see Nice Guy's video? He did a new one, like a 1-minute one. If you're on reserve, you can like see Lighthouse from reserve now, and you like totally couldn't before. Like if you stand up on dome and look around, you can see stuff you've never been able to see before. It was just like I don't know. They didn't even do a patch recently. Like I don't know what happened, but like all of a sudden, you could like see more of the maps from more of the maps now. There's like 5 different locations where you can just like, oh, that's customs. Like that's Lighthouse. Where you couldn't
one day you're gonna walk to like the shoreline.
Path to shoreline or whatever.
And you're not going to see the countdown. You're like, what? You're going to go further, and you're going to go further, and then you're just going to see like Lighthouse is going to pop up. You're like, whoa, what the fuck?
Dude, imagine, bro, friggin' imagine. It's crazy. So, but yeah,
don't get excited. Don't get excited.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for letting us yelling. I got more heated this time than I feel like I normally do. I've just been so frustrated.
You know, I like this fucking podcast, but this Jesse guy is so negative. All he does is fucking complain. All he does is
complain. He brought Inertia to the game, and now it's just
you're the new
terrible.
clean.
It's just terrible. Yeah.
I was the new clean, and now you're the new clean.
the clean name has been passed down from generation to generation.
Who else can we hate?
I bequeath it onto thee. All right. Well, thanks for hanging, everybody. Thanks for vibing. This will be live on the Places early next week. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we get something soon. Maybe we'll get some new guests on here. And yeah, thank you guys for hanging. We will definitely catch you all in the next one.
Peace.
Wow.